In example 4, we're going to continue graphing exponential decay functions. If we look at our function, we have y equals 1/2 to the x minus 3. We can tell that this is a decay function because of our base, and that is less than 1 but greater than 0. And then the other thing we should notice on this one that wasn't on the other one is that we have this minus 3 on the outside. Just like those growth functions, this number here that's added or subtracted to our function indicates that we are going to be moving our asymptote in our entire graph, and that's going to tell us that it's going down to negative 3. So we can fill out our asymptote here first, and we know that y is equal to negative 3. And then what I would like you to do is we can go ahead and graph that on our graph. It's a dotted line, not solid, but dotted. And then we can get our table of values. So maybe you want to hit the pause button for a second, plug this into your y equals, look at your table of values, get some nice numbers. If you need help finding those numbers, please raise your hand and I can help you kind of what you're looking at in that table. But go ahead, pause it, unpause it when you're ready to see if your table is, you picked the right numbers. If you filled out your table below, here are some possible options you could have. Remember, there's different options. You don't have to have the same exact ones as me. But I have negative 3 and 5, negative 2 and 1, negative 1, and 0, negative 2. Now, you don't have to necessarily have it in this order. Maybe you started with 0, negative 2, and worked your way down. Maybe yours is all kind of jumbled up, and that's fine. Just make sure you have 4 points that are going to lie on this graph. Then we're going to go ahead and plot those points. So we have the point negative 3, 5, negative 2 and 1, negative 1, and 0, negative 2. Now remember, you need to understand what the shape of your graph is going to look like. Remember that as it's coming down, it's going to curve and follow along that asymptote. So I'm going to draw my graph in here. And as it gets here, it's going to come closer and closer to the asymptote. It will never cross over it. And as I go up, it's going to come up on the diagonal. Never going to turn vertical. If I look for the domain of my function, I'm looking at all my possible x values. That would be all real numbers. I can use any x value that I want. And then if I take a look at my range, remember my range is going to go kind of hand in hand with that asymptote. My y values are starting here at negative 3. They're not including negative 3, but I'm starting at negative 3 and using every y value above it. So I could say that my range is y is greater than negative 3. Next, I'd like you to pause it and do the try this. You can unpause it when you're ready to check your answer. If you did the try this correctly, compare your table. Again, you might have a couple different points, and that's okay. Your asymptote should be y equals 2. Domain is all real numbers. Your range is y is greater than 2. And then take a look at your graph. Make sure you have your asymptote on there as a dotted line. Make sure that your graph as it goes to the right is getting very, very close to that asymptote, but it's not touching it or going over it. And make sure on the far left here that your graph is going up on a diagonal and it has not turned vertical. If you have questions, let me know.